Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Monday. It is May 13th. It is 2024. Joined today by my good buddy, Will Priester, ChiefJustice06. Chief, we end the week last week with a 12-game slate, and we start this week with a 12-game slate. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. Listen, I will not be bashful about saying that the 12-game slate today felt dreadful when I opened it up, Stevie. Like, just looking at the pitching list today, like when I was looking through, just looking at stuff, I said, oh my gosh, it's a Monday and we got 12. But on the bright side, this means we get to kick off Monday with tons, and I do mean tons of options and tons of prop options at that, Stevie. So while it may be a larger slate, and I think we both would have probably preferred 6 to 8 games today. I feel like that might have been our sweet spot. I can't complain about having a whole lot of options at my disposal for the slate tomorrow. So there we have it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big weekend. It was a big weekend for me, and then like it's a big slate, and like I could have done with 8.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, bring it on. I mean, what else are you gonna say? Bring it on. Like, the slate size doesn't scare me. I will say, when I was researching the slate, we have a lot of options for pitching today.
A lot
of options.
List. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So very excited about that. And again, like, you're over there in the Chiefs prop shop of Discord all the time, posting stuff. And I know you guys got all kinds of, sports betting and fantasy pick and plays being posted all the time in that chat. So if you guys don't have the RotoGrinders Discord for some odd reason that you don't have the RotoGrinders Discord, you should. I'll post a link over there right now in the YouTube chat for some, and just in case you don't have it. But also, it is Sunday night as we're recording. We always record the night before. And if you are listening or hanging out with us live, happy Mother's Day to all the moms, wives, grandmas. It's all about you today. I feel bad. I was traveling today, and I didn't like sleep last night. So like I got home around like 2:00, and I took a little nap, and then it ended up like needing to like watch the race. So I watched the race, and like, so my wife, we're gonna celebrate tomorrow, but Monday, and I'm off on Monday, so we're gonna celebrate tomorrow. But happy Mother's Day, all the moms out there. Hopefully you had a good day with your wife, and I know you were doing the same thing I was doing, and that's why we the chat was like, hopefully Stevie didn't forget to hit record. No, we spent 20 minutes talking about our kids' sports weekends because
and I think
both
we
Will
needed
and I
to do that.
yeah, don't even get me started. So yeah, I mean that's what was going down. We're here, we're ready to talk baseball. What's up, chat, YouTube? A lot of names. I'm not even going to try to get into it. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us live. I usually do shout outs, but we're going to jump in and get started on this slate. It's a big one. Tampa at Boston, 8.5 total. We got a 120 Boston favorite here. Zach Eflin against Cutter Crawford. Any interest here in Zach Eflin?
Slight interest, Stevie. Boston, they have been striking out a ton this season, and I do think Eflin is viable. Eflin's has not been pitching as well as I thought he would pitch, for what it's worth, Stevie. He just hasn't been what I expected him to be. But even still, I think this matchup with Boston, could be a good one. Like I said, they've got strikeouts up and down this lineup, so I'm in on Eflin today.
Yeah, I'm on the fence. I don't think he's a bad option. I just don't know if he has the ceiling I'm looking for in tournaments. Like, he's pitched well, and I think what you're trying to say is like he's pitched well. He just hasn't been dominant. Like that, right. I think that's the easiest way to put it. And like the Red Sox do offer some strikeouts where he really hasn't had like some great strikeout matchups to start the season. So like maybe he just kind of needs a matchup like this to get going. But I don't mind.
Down, he's just at a 19% K rate. It's not giving us the upside.
Yeah, and like the swinging strike rate and the whiff rate, very concerning. You know, on the fence on Eflin. There's a lot of options on the slate. Let's just, again, I'm going to say it one more time. A lot of options that we can choose from. We got Cutter Crawford on the other side of this game. Tampa, another team that's just off to a really abysmal start, I think is the best way to put it. They just have been ultimately struggling. Do you have any interest in Cutter Crawford in this one?
I do like Cutter Crawford a little, Stevie, as well. Like, his K stuff has been much better than Eflin's. And like you talked about, Tampa Bay, they've kind of been scuffling also. A few higher K bets like Randy Rosarina sitting at 32% this season. And while he's never been like super low, Stevie, 32% is way higher than he's usually at. Like he's usually 23 to 25-ish. And at 32, like that's been really high. And, when you look at Crawford, Crawford's had a really, really nice season. And like I told you, Stevie, I feel like this Boston team in general is kind of where, they just had an interesting season. So Cutter's at 24% of the season, 29% the lefties, 18% the righties. Not really walking any righties, but not really giving up a lot of power to either side of the plate either. So that's where I think that comes in handy. If he can keep the power numbers down, he'll have some strikeouts available against this Tampa Bay team.
Yeah, I think I prefer Cutter Crawford over Eflin because I do think Cutter Crawford has like that ability to go like 25 plus fantasy points. I think I'm on the fence on both of these guys today, and it's not anything to do with the bats because like looking here at the Tampa bats, Paredes has been really good this season. Like
really good.
He's like the guy that I feel like in that range. Like if you want to end up on Paredes. He's hitting the ball really well. He has a 267 ISO against right-handed pitching this season. He's not striking out, but he just doesn't have any help. The rest of the lineup has really struggled. Rosarina just striking out at everything right now, just free swinging the bat for sure. So I think Paredes is like as a one-off is the only thing that I really like here on the Tampa Bats side of this game.
Totally agree. I'm with you 100%.
Any interest in the Boston Bats here?
Boston's kind of a similar situation, Stevie, where, maybe you take Tyler O'Neill still because of the power. Like he's striking out at 32%, but at least he's still flashing power, Stevie. Like that. So that's something I'm interested in. And Connor Wong has been okay. You're not ever going to get me to or convince me to not play Devers against the righty. Ref Snyder showed some nice power too, but I think they would just be one-offs. And Wong's cheap enough. Devers is obviously their big bat. O'Neill's a big bat, but striking out a whole lot more. I'd probably fade O'Neill for Devers and take the lower strikeout rate and give away a little bit of power. And then, if you want a one-off Ref Snyder, be my guest. He's looked really good this season on paper anyway.
Yeah, so with Eflin's like lower strikeouts and kind of being like a reverse splitsy pitcher, I think like Tyler O'Neill home run chasing is what you'd be doing in this spot. I don't mind that at all. And then like you mentioned, Ref Snyder, Connor Wong, like I could see maybe a 3-man here, but I think overall we're going to find better hitters on the slate that we like a lot more just in general. So yeah. Moving on, we got Philadelphia at New York facing the Mets. 7.5 total in this game. Philly at 124 favorites. We got Christopher Sanchez and Sean Manaea. Any interest here in Sanchez?
Stevie, I don't think I want to take him against the Mets. They're facing a lefty. I get it, but I don't think I can do it today. He's just such a mixed bag of hitting, Stevie. Of pitching. Once again, they are going to strike out the lefties a lot more. No denying that. But I I don't think I want to play Sanchez today.
Yeah, I mean, the Mets have an 18.5% K rate this season against left-handed pitching. They're 20th in WRC plus, where they're 10th against right-handed pitching. So I mean, like that aspect, sure, it's appealing. The ballpark's appealing. The price tag is appealing because like Christopher Sanchez is a guy that can go out and get 10 strikeouts. So like large field tournaments, I completely understand if you're MMEing why you'd be taking shots on or Christopher Sanchez today, not Carlos. So I understand the aspect and the reasons of taking shots on him today. Is he my favorite pitcher today? No. Will I play him in a 20 entry max? Probably. I think that I don't mind getting like 2 to 4 teams with Christopher Sanchez in a 20 entry max and looking at it and saying, hey, it's just I'm playing the ceiling. Kind of going back, like we talked about Crochet on Friday in a similar spot of like if Crochet has it, he has double-digit strikeout upside at lower ownership, and I think he had 9 strikeouts or something.
Yeah. And listen, that Cleveland lineup came out really rough Friday. I got on Crochet even more later because the lineup they had some changes. I mean, it was ridiculous.
That happened a couple times this weekend. It happened with Clevenger too.
Yeah,
I was in charge of the squad ride on Saturday, and I was like Clevenger against Cleveland. That's an easy under strikeout, and that didn't work. Anyway, but I don't mind Sanchez in tournaments. Sean Manaea on the other side. Any interest in Manaea here?
Sean Manaea is also interesting, Stevie. Like I feel like both of these guys are kind of in the same boat where, Manaea's flashed some upside this season. Phillies middle of the road. Let's just call it middle of the road. I think I probably trust Sanchez a little bit more than Manaea, but generally speaking, I don't want to play him either.
I feel like the upside of them, potentially getting 3 or 4 lefties in the lineup is good, but I think overall this is just a spot I'm not going to play Sean Manaea. I think they're going to have too many righties. His walks are always concerning. His command is always concerning. Like his command is awful. His walk rate's over 12% this season. He's not generating any ground balls. Yeah, I don't want to play Manaea.
Yeah.
Bats for Philadelphia. We hate the ballpark, but I mean, they have some good right-handed hitters in this lineup. Are you taking any shots here?
I mean, Castellanos, man, might be heating up at 4,200. Like I'm for sure okay with Castellanos. I don't hate lefty Bryce Harper, who's been really good, and I think I'll just leave it at that because I don't have to stretch today. There's plenty of bats on this slate.
Yeah, so if Schwarber ends up missing the game again, and like Real Muto's dealing with a knee as well, like we could potentially get Whit Merrifield batting leadoff. He hit leadoff against Braxton Garrett on Sunday, and he's 3,200. You can play him at second base or outfield. I mean, yeah. I don't hate that. Whit's always been a lot better against left-handed pitching than right-handed pitching. I love Alec Boehm against lefties. Price is really tough on him at 5,600, but his counterpart, Armando Sosa, is 2,800, and in a small sample size, this guy has really hit left-handed pitching hard. So, really something that I kind of want to keep paying attention to with Sosa. And yeah, I mean, he's just 2,800 for Sosa is a great price tag for someone that's hitting left-handed pitching really hard. So I wish they'd hit him a little higher. They did hit him 6 on Sunday. I mean, that's way better than like hitting in the 8 or 9 hole there.
Yeah.
Any interest in the Mets bats here?
Yeah, give me Pete Alonso mostly. That's mostly good. I mean, if you want to play JD Martinez because maybe he turns back the clock, I get it. Maybe you want to play a little Starling Marte. But all in all, I'm not really playing the Mets.
JD Martinez at 3,500 against a lefty.
Yeah.
I mean, you could always make a case for that.
Yep.
All right, let's go Cubbies and Braves. 8 total in this game. Braves a 145 favorite here. We got Shada going up against Lopez. Any interest here in Shada?
I'm just going to play him today, Stevie. I mean, I've seen him face good offenses, bad offenses. I mean, he's about as consistent as it's seemingly going to get this season. I like him a ton. I don't typically take teams against the Braves, Stevie, for what it's worth. Not something I usually do, but I think Shot is good enough to take against anybody at this point. So, I mean, he faced San Diego and called them gutless. They're still not as low strikeout. They're a much lower strikeout team than the Braves right now. And, I mean, I saw what he was able to get accomplished there. I'm just going to play him, period.
Yeah, I think overall, you just keep taking shots on him. I will say, like, it's funny where, like, the Braves haven't been as good against left-handed pitching this season, but they're still 6 in WRC+. They're just such a good offense. We expect more from them. I mean, you look at this lineup against left-handed pitching, and you're like, this lineup should crush left-handed pitching. I mean, especially with, like, Albie's back. They got Acuna, Riley, Ozuna, Duvall, Arcia hits lefties well. Like, they have a lot of hitters just in general, but I think Shada, and chat's saying that Riley left the game early on Sunday. Looks like side tightness, so like maybe they give him a day off. Like Shada might get a good lineup here. You know, you start taking like Riley and like anybody else out of this lineup, and like that's a huge bump for someone like Shada. What about your boy Renato Lopez? Any interest in him in this spot?
Man, listen, Lopez is another guy, Stevie, that's been good this season. And I think I'm also going to play him. And once again, I'm probably going to have a much higher or a much more expanded pitching pool. He's at 25% of the season, 29% to lefties, 29% to righties, 22% to lefties so far. A little bit of a walks issue to the left side of the plate, but that's something I think he had before. If we can clean that up just a little bit for this start, I think we could be looking at a really nice position for him, a guy that has also shown some strikeout upside, even outside of the numbers, Stevie. Like most games, he's giving you 5 to 7 strikeouts. So I like what we're seeing from him. He's 9,700. You know, probably a little bit more expensive than I want to pay, but I think he's worth it to get into the pool.
I've been captain of the Renato Lopez reemergence train, and I love what he's doing this year in general. I don't think I can play him today. There are a lot of pitchers in the 7 and 8K range that I think are playable today. My issues with Lopez is kind of what you talked about, the walks. He is walking lefties. He's striking lefties out at a lower clip, and they could throw.
He's probably going to get 5. I would say.
So I would say 4 to 6 lefties at him. So I like Renato Lopez against right-handed heavy offenses, and I think at this price point, I can be picky now at 9,700. So I don't think he's a bad play. And like, if you want to get some exposure to him, go for it. But good lefties too, Will. And Suzuki's back. Like, the lineup is just getting healthier and good lefties. I mean, you look at those strikeout rates for the lefties this year. Ian Happ is massively striking out, but like,
he's done that every year pretty much. Though that's who he is.
He likes swinging and missing.
Yeah.
Eventually, you have to think like he might be somebody that like gets moved or replaced on this team soon. Like, but. Yeah. Anyway, we said that last year about Ozuna, and he just came on and he's like, "Ha, watch this."
Right.
Let's talk bats. Anything here on the Cubby side?
Yeah, listen, I like Lopez, but you know, I'm not going to be against some one-off power here. Obviously, Bellinger, at 4,900 is a guy that you could consider. You talked about Ian Happ. Talkman is another guy that has flashed some power. Stevie's going to be hit from left. He's even been batting up closer to the 2-hole for some of these games. So you're getting spots like that. Like, sign me up, Stevie. So those are the type of plays that I don't mind getting involved with in terms of some one-offs, even against Lopez, or some mini stacks to hedge. And of course, man, everybody knows Michael Busch has just been tearing the cover off the ball, or at least for a stretch there. And he's still been hitting the ball fairly well consistently, so I don't mind getting some shares of him also.
Yeah, I mean, Bellinger would definitely be my favorite here, but I mean, I don't hate looking at like a 3-man lefty stack between, a lot of the names that you mentioned, Busch, Tauchman, Bellinger. Like, it would definitely be lefties. Like, Renardo's been really good against righties this year. So, like, Morel, he's been great to start, or he's been hitting the ball really well. It's a really tough spot for him. Suzuki, it's a tough spot for him. So, it would be lefties if I was going to play Chicago. And then on the Atlanta side, like, you can make an argument for stacking Atlanta on every single slate. I'd probably leave them out of my build today.
Yeah, same here, man. Like I said, I trust in Managa. I don't think I can do it, Stevie. I'm going to let it ride.
Yeah, he hasn't given up more than 2 earned runs or 1 home run in a start yet this season, and he's pitching into the 6th or 7th, it seems like, almost every start. So I think only 2 of his starts this year he hasn't. So, yeah, I mean, he's been really, really good to start the year.
Yep.
Washington at Chicago White Sox, 8.5 total in this game. Washington a 122 favorite. We got Trevor Williams going up against Chris Flexen. Feels like a game from like 10 years ago. I don't even know if Trevor Williams has been in the league long enough but it just feels like a game from, let's call it 5 years ago. Any interest here in Trevor Williams?
No.
I am like, he's at the top of I'm on the fence board. Like, his strikeout upside is concerning, but he has a 4% barrel rate this year. His ISO is at under 0.40. His WOBA's under 250. He's generating ground balls. He's generating soft contact. You worry about the strikeouts, but I mean, if you are in the 7K range and you want a guy that potentially has the upside to get you like 15 to 20 points, I think that's kind of what he brings to the table today. I mean, there is a pitcher in this range that I absolutely just love today. And I mean, he's cheaper than this. So I think that, like, Williams is just somebody, like, if you end up on Williams, I wouldn't like talk you off of it, but just know, like, he's not likely going to go more than like 80 pitches. And like his upside isn't like tournament winning upside. Yep. I say that he struck out 8 Baltimore bats and gave up 2 hits last time out and was definitely tournament winning upside. Chris Flexen on the other side of this game, he turned back time last game too against Tampa and had 8 strikeouts and 29 DK points. Any interest here in Flexen?
No. Listen, even Homer Bailey had a game every once in a while. That's their game. Talk about turning back the clock. Homer Bailey, Stevie. Homer Bailey.
Like, Chad already knows. Chad already knows who I like. I guess when you do this like every day for 8 years, like Monday through Friday for 8 years, like if you have, listen, we have loyal listeners, and I appreciate all the loyal listeners. Like they already know. They know what's up. They know exactly who I like. they know, Will. Yeah, I mean, like, Flexen, I would much rather play like Williams than Flexen, right? Because like Williams, I can see in Williams like advanced stats that like he's doing the right stuff to get outs. Chris Flexen's getting lucky. He has a 12% K rate against lefties with a 356 ISO and a 380 WOBA, and he's generating 44% fly balls against lefties with a 7.8% swinging strike rate. Like, it's just, it's silly. There's not a ton of left-handed power. Yeah, there's not a lot of left-handed power in this lineup, but there's enough lefties in this lineup that I have like no interest in taking Chris Flexen today at all. He's the magic man, but I just don't see it. Let's talk Washington bats. I really like Washington today. Chris Flexen's not good. They have a lot of lefties. I think it's definitely a slate you could pay up for CJ Abrams. I think this is a good upside spot for him. One of my favorite hitters on the slate is Garcia. Second base, 3,800, super consistent hitter. I know he's kind of slumping a little bit over the weekend, but what a spot. What a spot, like, to get back on track. You're like, hey, tough weekend, but you know what? You get Chris Flexen today. You're welcome. So, and then you get some of these cheap bats, like your boy Rosario, Eddie Rosario for the Braves. Dude's smoking the ball. I know, like, Greg in chat just said it as well, but like, he has hit in, I think, like 6 or 7 straight games. He has 3 home runs over the last 4 games. Like, Eddie Rosario at 2,600 has turned back the clock, and he's like, I'm hitting the baseball right now.
He might be back to Minnesota, Eddie Rosario, Stevie. You remember he was with the Twins?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm with you. Definitely in on these Washington Nationals lefties. So glad you called out Garcia, because he's definitely someone I was going to mention. And even Vargas, Stevie. Like, look, limited plate appearances, but 8% K rate, which has kind of been Washington's MO like the past couple seasons. Try to keep the K rates low. Haven't been flashing a lot of power, but this season they are flashing the power. Jesse Winker seems to be coming back around, Stevie. Like, this could be some really cheap, let's call it 3 to 4 mans, and they could pay off big time against Chris Flexen.
Yeah, I think Washington's in a great spot. They run, they're like a poor man's Brewers. They run, they have some pop, and I think it's a good spot for them. Chris Flexen is a guy you can steal off of too, so I think this is a fantastic spot for Washington. Any interest in the Chicago White Sox bats here?
Yeah, I don't really want to play the White Sox bats, but I don't want to play Trevor Williams either. So once again, both of these pitchers are kind of sitting on the shelf. I will be mixing in some Washington lefties and not really playing the White Sox.
Doesn't it just feel like this is one of those spots where, like, Trevor Williams is going to go out and generate like 10 ground balls? Like, it's just not going to like dominate them, but not going to really get hit hard. And I think this is just a spot to stay away from the White Sox bats. There's going to be times where you could take shots, and they've been hitting a lot better recently, and they don't strike out very often, but I don't think this is the right day.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh at Milwaukee, 8 total here. Milwaukee is a 134 favorite. Mitch Keller against Colin Ray. Mitch Keller is a dog to Colin Ray. If that doesn't tell you the season that Milwaukee's having, then nothing does. Mitch Keller finally had a good outing last time out against the Angels.
And guess what? He did nothing to help me. Absolutely nothing. I took over 5.5 strikeouts. You pitched 9 innings.
Didn't get the strikeouts.
Oh my God. He didn't do anything to help me. I'm just sitting here like, wait a minute. Does he have 60 pitches through 6 innings, 5 innings, 7 innings, whatever it was? And I'm like, okay, so he still got time. And the innings kept rolling by, Stevie. And I just knew it. I said he's going to end with 5 after this gem that he just pitched. Unbelievable. Not
to like get off track because we have a huge slate, but is there anything worse than like needing to blow your nose and not having tissues on your desk? What an epic fail. My little one comes in here all the time and takes stuff off my desk, and the tissues are probably out like somewhere in the living room or something. Mitch Keller. I don't think I want to play Mitch Keller today. I respect just how good Milwaukee is. I mean, I bought a Brewers hat. I feel like that says a lot. But they've been really good. They've been really good against right-handed pitching. They're second in WRC plus this season against right-handed pitching. Mitch Keller should not be a dog to Colin Ray, but he is because of how good the Brewers have hit the ball this year. You look at plate IQ, and it's just straight green against right-handed pitching this season for the Brewers. I have no interest in Mitch Keller today. Your thoughts?
Same here. Not playing Mitch. You summed that up beautifully.
Any interest in Colin Ray?
Ooh, buddy, Stevie. I also don't want to play Colin Ray. So there you have it.
Yeah, not a good offense, the Pittsburgh Pirates in
Yeah.
general. But I think this is an easy stay away spot for me as well. No
I mean,
interest.
they just faced Kyle Hendricks. They're pretty much getting Kyle Hendricks again.
Yeah,
Back-to-back starts.
15% K, 7%
Yeah.
swinging strikes, gives up a lot
Yeah.
of barrels.
Same exact matchup, pretty much.
Let's talk Pittsburgh bats here. They're cheap. They're cheap. So I could see using a good ballpark upgrade going into Milwaukee, and they're cheap. They get a guy like Colin Ray that gets hit pretty hard. Definitely worse against lefties. So like Swazinski, Cruz would be my two favorites, and then like Brian Reynolds is eventually going to get it going. He's too good of a hitter not to get it going.
Oh man.
So I like Pittsburgh today.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like you talk about O'Neal Cruz, Stevie, 33% K rate, but he could send one out of the park today for sure. The only thing I don't like for Pittsburgh is they're not flashing any power. But man, like if Rowdy Tellez should crack the lineup, the power's got to come at some point, right, Stevie? Like he's not going to be below a 100 ISO against right-handed pitching. I just don't see that. But I could be wrong. But I do think Pittsburgh mini stacks are okay today.
My problem with Tellez, and I the only reason I know this is because I was researching him the other day. He's not barreling the baseball. So like that is the biggest issue for Rowdy Tellez right now. So I don't know if it's like something in his swing that is not working, that's not there right now, but like he's not barreling the baseball. His barrel rate's under 5% this season against right-handed pitching. So I think that is where it's like concerning. And like Reynolds isn't either. Like he's at 7.7. Like you really kind of want that number to be over like 10%. Like I want one of 10 batted ball in play, like batted ball events to be a barrel. That's always how I kind of look at like that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, overall, he's cheap. Tellez is cheap, so I don't hate it like in a 3-man stack or something. But Revenge too, right? Didn't he play with Milwaukee?
He did. He
Yeah,
did play Milwaukee last year.
Hey, there you go. Revenge. I love the Brewers stack today. I don't know how popular they're going to be, but I love the Brewers today. Like, I'm sure everyone in chat is like shocked, but how do you not love this team? Like, they're all hitting. They all have upside. Their prices, their prices have caught up a little bit, but like, there's still cheap options where it's really easy to stack the Brewers today.
Yeah, for sure. I did see, Yeezy mentioned something. Just talking about Yelich picking right up where he left off, and I mean that's absolutely the case. Like he's rolling, Stevie. So like him a ton. Even when you look at like all these guys, have just been hitting, and so I'm in on this whole offense, and Keller's just gonna have to prove it to us today. Period.
Yeah, he's not going to prove it to us. We're gonna beat him up a little bit today. Cleveland at Texas, 8.5 total in this game. It's sort of a pick'em game. Like Texas is a slight favorite here. We got Bybee and Lorenzen. Any interest here in Bybee? Oh, did we lose Will? Might have lost Will. Yeah, we lost Will. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a ton of interest in Bybee here. Bybee really good against like right-handed bats, and Texas does typically have a good amount of righties in the lineup, and there's a little bit of upside facing the Texas lineup right now. They're dealing with some injuries, but like Bybee, he's put together a few starts this year, but he's really struggled over his last couple starts, and they were really, I wouldn't even call them like tough matchups. He faced Detroit and LA, and he allowed 10 earned runs in 2 starts. So overall, I don't think this is a great spot for Tanner Bybee. I probably won't play him today. The price tag, though, like in large field tournaments, I completely understand why you would take some shots on him. And then, like, Michael Lorenzen is just not like a good pitcher. This is an easy stay away spot for me on Lorenzen. He has some reverse, like weird splits this season where he's striking out lefties at a high clip, but like advanced stats don't really back it up as much as we kind of wanted to. So, gonna be out on Michael Lorenzen here. As far as the bats are concerned for Cleveland, I mean, I hate playing this team. Like I always like playing Ramirez or like a Josh Naylor, but they're over like 5K now, and it's really tough to pay these prices for them. So I don't necessarily have a ton of interest in the Cleveland bats. Like maybe the cheap bats like a Brennan, but I feel like we're gonna find better options on this slate. Floral's a guy that has some power upside at 3,400, but again, I feel like we're gonna find better options on this slate. As far as the Texas bats go, I definitely respect the talent of Tanner Bybee. So if I'm attacking Bybee, it's lefties. So like a Nate Lowe, a Corey Seager, Heim at catcher. Like Robbie Grossman is gonna. I don't know if he will be like every day, but like right now with the injuries, I feel like he's gonna be playing pretty much every day, and I like him a lot more from the right side of the plate against left-handed pitching. But he's still pretty cheap here at 3K, and he's gonna be in this lineup. I assume hitting in like the 6 or 7 spot. So I don't mind that. But overall, I would definitely prefer him against lefties. I almost kind of hope he doesn't crack the lineup, so I'm not tempted to play him. But Lowe and Seager, my favorite plays here, and Heim. I think Texas is a team you could potentially 3-man stack today, but it'd be the Texas lefties. And I know like Lorenzen has been better, or Bybee has been better this season, but like his numbers against lefties, 263 ISO, 411 WOBA. That is just where he is getting hit really, really hard, his lefties. His righties numbers are fantastic. 30% Ks, 3% walks, 115 ISO, 245 WOBA. So like Bybee's numbers against righties is just really, really good, but he continues to struggle with those lefties. Oakland at Houston, 8.5 total in this game. Houston, a 172 favorite. We got Ross Stripling going up against Spencer Argetti, Mr. Spaghetti. Ross Stripling, like Houston has definitely struggled more to start the season. No doubt about it. Like no one can really argue them starting the season slow, but like we're not playing Ross Stripling against this team. He has a 15% K rate. They still have one of the lowest strikeout rates in baseball. This is an easy stay away spot here on Stripling. The other side of this game, though, is really interesting. Argetti has some strikeout ability. He really struggles with walks and command. And, I mean, that is the biggest problem with him. And his price is as high as it's ever been. He really hasn't had, like, that game, but he really hasn't faced an easier opponent either. I mean, he's faced the Yankees, Cleveland, Chicago Cubs, Atlanta, Kansas City. So you look at the opponents and you're like, man, does this guy actually have a little bit of upside in this matchup against Oakland? Sure. I think overall, like he's priced up because he's facing Oakland. But overall, I just don't know if he's worth this. So like if you're playing Argetti, and I get why you would take shots on him because I mean he definitely potentially has a little bit of upside in this matchup, but the thing about Argetti that is really interesting to me, and one of the reasons that I do think like Argetti is actually potentially playable here, is if we look at all the surface stats and we take those away and we look at some of his strikeout stuff, he has a 26.7% whiff rate. He's generating strikes outside of the strike zone, and he has a 12.8% swinging strike rate. Like those are all numbers of a really like above average strikeout pitcher. So like those are the reasons that like I think you could potentially play him today. He's not my favorite. My favorite's coming up next game. Chad already knows what's up. But I do think like Argetti is playable. Now the flip side of that is the Oakland offense. If Argetti starts getting steamrolled here and like starts to get a lot of ownership, I like Oakland today. Roker and Langeliers mostly. Like from what we've seen from Argetti so far, is he has like reverse splits tendencies. He's allowing 62% hard hits to right-handed hitters this year, 308 ISO and a 514 WOBA. So I don't think you want to sleep on taking right-handed power bats against him. And Roker and Langeliers are like right at the top of that list. Like Brett Roker, 338 ISO this season against left-handed or right-handed pitching. So it's been a really good start to the season for Roker, and Langeliers has a 416 ISO against righties, and they're cheap. Roker's 4K, Langeliers is 3,800. I think this is a spot where Shea Langeliers should get ownership. I don't know if he will get a ton of ownership, so I like the potential of playing these two Oakland power righties. And I will say, like, it's a small sample size, but ever since Brett Harris got called up, he's actually hit right-handed pitching really well. He's 2,500, so I could get behind a little Oakland three-man. As much as I like the potential strikeout upside for Argetti, I think you could get behind an Oakland three-man stack here and take some home run upside here with Brett Harris. The Houston bats against Ross Stripling. I mean, it's Ross Stripling facing Houston. He doesn't generate any strikeouts. Houston's a top stack on the slate. Like, this isn't an overthink it spot. You know, Kyle Tucker has been hitting leadoff, and it's really been working out for him. He's got some protection behind him. He has home runs in 5 of his last 6 games, and he crushes the baseball. So, I mean, he's one of the top hitters on the entire slate. Don't sleep on this spot here for Houston bats. Stripling is just not great. I mean, he's not great. All right, moving on to St. Louis and LA. I was gonna bring you in after that. I got done with that game. You agree with everything. We're moving on.
Yeah.
8.5 total in this game. We got a LA 120 favorite here. It's like an opener situation for St. Louis. They called Kyle Lee up. He's been pitching in AAA and trying to get extended a little bit, but I don't expect him to throw like more than like 75 pitches in this spot out of the bullpen. I don't want to touch the Cardinals opener situation on a 12-game slate. I'm guessing you're with me here. Oh, did it freeze again? I think it froze again. All right. Well, hey, I don't want to touch. I don't want to touch this situation. Will was about to agree with me. Oh, back? No, he's trying. I can hear.
All right.
I can
I
hear
think
him.
I'm back. The problem is my computer froze up. It actually wasn't my internet this time. My computer froze up, and I'm not. It might have been FanGraphs. I don't know. So it shut down. So I had to start it back up. And bottom line is, I agree with you on this situation on both sides. Like, how do we play these pitching situations? It's terrible. Well, terrible might be a stretch, but Stevie, Liberatore 8,300. I'm sorry, not the Angels, of course, but the St. Louis situation. No way I'm touching this.
Yeah, I don't know how. Like, if we get some kind of pitch count on Kyle Lee, maybe, maybe you could take a shot on him, but I don't think this is the spot. I like the Angels aren't an offense you're like necessarily worried about either, but it's a pitch count thing for me. I don't know how much we really expect him to pitch in this game. Windows 98 is a struggle. That one made me laugh. Chad already knows that I really like Jose Soriano today. I want to hear your thoughts before I spill out my love for him today.
Jose Soriano is really good in this spot against St. Louis. And I know, Derek, I know it's kind of become almost like a bit, Stevie, where we just keep playing pitchers against the Cardinals. I mean, it's just constantly working out with these guys. They're too cheap. And there's so many good offenses today. Soriano has plenty of strikeout upside. Now, is it all going to come together at once? I don't know, Stevie. But, I mean, as long as he doesn't give up runs, he could put up a monster score here with Jose Soriano.
Yeah, I mean, he has good strikeout stuff. Just in general, like he has the ability to generate whiffs, especially against right-handed hitters. He has the ability to get lefties out. He generates ground balls against lefties. His strikeout rate comes down a little bit, but it's really hard not to play pitchers against this team right now. They're just struggling big time. It's been a rough start. I mean, they're missing one of their best hitters now too. He throws gas. Eventually Jose Soriano is going to figure out like hey, I probably need to come out throwing like 96, 97 and work up to 100. But he comes out throwing 100. You're always worried about like him later in starts, like later in outings. Like he starts to struggle in the 4th, 5th, 6th innings. But I don't think this is an offense that really is going to beat him up. So I love the strikeout upside. I can't wait to see a strikeout prop. I've been waiting patiently to see what his strikeout prop comes in at. If it's, I don't think it'll be 5.5. If it is 5.5, just absolutely pounding it. I hope it's 4.5. I would definitely be taking the over on 4.5, but maybe it comes in. Like they have home run props and everything up for this game, and they don't have strikeout props up for this game yet. But anyway, I like Soriano a lot today. He's one of my favorite pitchers on the slate, and price considered, he's one of my favorite pitchers on the slate. Any interest in the Cardinals bats here?
Negative. I will not be playing one single Cardinals bat. I faked the Cardinals the other day, and in fact, I've probably been faking up almost every day, Stevie. And Donovan got a home run off, and I know every now and then they'll show some pop. I'm not buying into anything that suggests the Cardinals are going to be good tonight. So they get the full fade for me.
Like two of the most disappointing offenses in baseball facing off against each other here. The Angels and the Cardinals, they're both bottom 10 in WRC plus. They're not great offenses. This is like you can't even bet like this game. It's a pick'em game because it is a pick'em game. I mean, there's some props that you can take some shots on here, but like it's a straight up pick'em game for a reason. I don't have any interest in the Cardinals bats, and I mean, I don't think I have any interest in the Angels bats. It's going to be like a lefty opener, a righty pitcher coming in behind him. I just think this is a spot where I'm going to find better options on the slate.
Yeah, same here. No doubt about it. And I just switched my internet connection to Stevie. So my computer did shut down on me, but now I've switched to my mobile hotspot just in case my internet is deciding to act up as well. So we should be good to finish the rest of the pod.
Derek said, as of Friday, Goldie, Carlson, and Gorman were 1 for 56 of the month of May. Just Derek keeping us up to date on those Cardinals. Rough season to be a Cardinals fan, that's for sure.
Ooh, terrible.
Cincinnati at Arizona, 8.5 total. Arizona 148 favorite. We got Graham Ashcraft against Jordan Montgomery. Any interest here in Ashcraft?
Stevie, this is the weird one for me because I don't trust Graham Ashcraft, but Arizona's close to giving me a reason to trusting Graham Ashcraft. And at 7,600, a guy that has some strikeout ability, if this Arizona offense just decides to, I mean, for what it's worth, Steven, and I know Dean Kramer hasn't been bad. Dean Kramer, I think, rattled off 8 strikeouts against this team on Sunday. I almost feel like I have to have some interest in Ashcraft because the struggle might be real for Arizona here right now. So we'll see, but I don't want to play Graham Ashcraft. And in fact, now that I'm talking and saying this out loud, Stevie, I'm probably going to fade him because of all the options we have. But it would not surprise me if Graham Ashcraft had a good outing against Arizona today, considering how they've been playing overall the past few weeks.
Hate playing pitchers back-to-back against the team he just faced. He just struggled against this team last outing. Now he has to face them again. Graham Ashcraft's biggest downside is lefties, and they're going to be able to get too many lefties against him here today. I'm going to pass. The more we break down this slate, the more I'm going to play Soriano. Just you want to know how my night's going? How did Jose Soriano pitch? That sums up Stevie's night. Jordan Montgomery on the other side of this game actually pitched really well last time out against Cincinnati, but again, 2 strikeouts, gave up 7 hits. This is again facing the same team. I like the bats in this game. I just can't can we just talk bats? Do you have any interest in Jordan Montgomery?
No.
All right, well, let's talk bats because that's what I want to talk about. Jordan Montgomery doesn't strike anybody out. You got to be able to attack this team. Spencer Steer, one of my favorite hitters on the slate. Candelario, much better from the right side of the plate. Eleuterio Cruz, much better from the left side of the plate, but I don't mind him in this spot. I have a lot of interest in this game as a whole. I prefer mini stacks on the Cincinnati side more than full stacks, but I do like this team a lot today.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, just up and down this lineup, Stevie, you're going to have some options. And really, I think this is just a full stack spot because in my mind, Stevie, if Jordan Montgomery starts giving up runs, it's going to come in waves. So, Indy is still cheap. I know he hasn't been exceptional this season. Don't get me wrong. I get it. But, I mean, Indy is 3,700. You talked about Steer. He's 5K. De La Cruz is 62. But, I mean, there's just still some bats here. Perhaps Benson cracks the lineup, and I mean, or Stevenson. I think there's enough here for them to really stick it to Jordan Montgomery. Montgomery has been great. Now I know he went, I think 6 or 7 innings in the last start, but I think that's fool's gold. I still don't think he's right, and I trust this young Cincinnati offense that's got a lot of upside here.
I'm not doing yoga. I'm struggling. Going to the other side of this game, the Arizona bats. I mean, I love Arizona today. They're one of my favorite stacks on the entire slate. I'm likely going to have a lot of Arizona Houston bats today, just in general. And then Milwaukee, another team that I really like. But yeah, I mean, I love this spot for Arizona. Ashcraft really struggles with lefties. Just face this team, very fresh. I mean, this is a great spot, good ballpark. I'm going to be overweight on the Arizona bats today.
Yeah, love that call, Stevie. And once again, I know you struggled. It's just Arizona, man. They started out so hot, Stevie, and then they kind of just fell off a cliff, it felt like. But once again, Graham Ashcraft, can't be afraid of Graham Ashcraft. Gotta plug the Steve in. Hopefully this is the game. Can Corbin Carroll, Stevie? Can Corbin Carroll get it done for us? I hope this is the game. There you have it.
All right, we got Kansas City at Seattle. 7 total in this game. Seattle 146 favorite. We got Brady Singer against George Kirby. Any interest here in Brady Singer?
Tons, Stevie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Brady Singer, I think, was 8,800 the last time we had a pod, or no, he was 9,200, I think, Stevie. And we were saying he's way overpriced for this spot. Today at 8,800, all spots aren't created equal against the Seattle Mariners, who have scored some runs lately, Stevie. I don't care. Strikeout rates through the roof. Brady Singer, this is your chance, buddy. You opened up the season with 10. Get us 10. Get through clean. Don't let this team linger around. Just put them away. Don't give us 0-2 ground outs. Give us 0-2 punch outs, and we will thank you later. Love Brady Singer against the Seattle Mariners at 8,800.
Yeah, I always make notes of props I want to check throughout the podcast. Tomorrow when they start posting props, and Singer is one that I want to see where he comes.
He's going to be 5.5. They won't give us 4.5 on Singer. If they do, they're crazy.
Well, if I think I'd take over 5.5. Like, I like that number. Like, I don't know if it's up yet. I checked earlier and it wasn't up yet, but I haven't checked since. But yeah, I think like Brady Singer, really good spot for him. He's pitched really good this year. Like he hasn't had like the dominating upside, but like if you look at his advanced stats, he's pitching really well. 55% ground balls, 18% fly balls, not generating a lot of power, has some strikeout upside. That matchup adds strikeout upside. Seattle's just striking out at like a historical rate right now. Like it's not good, and it will come down. Like we're not sitting here saying like Seattle's going to keep striking out in 29%, but we got to take advantage of it when it's happening, and it's happening right now. So,
Josh Rojas is the reason it's going to continue to come down. He's going to get to 0 at some point. The rest of the team's still going to be up there.
So they're saying Singer's at 6.5 Ks at plus 120 on DK. I might wait till the morning and hope that it moves to 5.5, but I don't know. I don't even necessarily hate the plus money at 6.5. I think this is a really good strikeout spot. George Kirby on the other side, he struggled last time out against Minnesota. I know a lot of us were interested in him in that spot. He's 9K. It's a tough matchup. Kansas City. Like Kansas City is a team that definitely there's some strikeout upside in this lineup between like Witt and Vasquez and stuff. But any interest in Kirby here?
I think I'm fading Kirby today, Stevie. Like, plus Kirby's never been like this huge strikeout guy anyway. Kirby's been a low walk, more so innings guy. You know what I mean, Stevie? So you're not going to give us the strikeouts, and this is a team that can absolutely score some runs against you. You know, if you Stevie, even if he gave us 6 innings, 4 Ks, and gave up 3 runs, that's not enough today. It's not, even if he goes 6 innings, 4 Ks, gives up 2. I don't think it's enough. And I think Singer is going to be more in line for the win anyway. I could be wrong, but in no way am I saying George Kirby is a bad pitcher. What I'm saying is at 9K, I'd rather just play Singer and leave him out of my pool. I'd rather play Eflin. I'd rather play Cutter Crawford. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'd rather do than play 9K for George Kirby.
George Kirby's a really good real-life pitcher.
Really good.
He has elite command, and he's a really good real-life pitcher. But we are playing DFS, and we're betting, right? Like, we're gambling in the prop streets, in the betting streets, and we're playing DFS. And, you know, we're trying to make educated projections. And, like, when you're looking at this matchup, you're like, George Kirby could put up 20, 25 points. Okay. Kansas City's sneaky good. Kind of what like Yeezy's saying, they're sneaky tough. We've been talking about this all year. Like this team is a lot better than people give them credit for. And like there's a couple weak spots in this lineup, but like they could hit you hard and they run on you. I think George Kirby is a good pitcher. I think he's a good real life pitcher. I don't think you want to play him in DFS today.
I'd love to have George Kirby on the Braves for what it's worth.
I'm sure you would. Yeah, he and Max Fried would work really well together, being just excellent in real life pitchers. Hey, how about your boy Charlie Morton? How about your boy Stevie on Friday telling you to play Charlie Morton, him scoring 29 DK points at like 4% ownership? Sup, Chief? I forgot to text you.
Listen, my boy Charlie just keeps coming through. This is his 3rd season with us, I think. And he's just standing strong, Stevie. So shout out to Charlie. And this is real talk. This is like me being serious here. I do plan to catch Charlie pitch one more time in a Braves uniform before he's out of there. Like I've seen him pitch. Like he is really good in real life, Stevie. And his curveball is still really good. Like it's amazing.
I forgot to text you. I want to text you. Any Kansas City bats in this spot?
Okay. Here's the kicker. I'm not playing Kirby because I don't think he gets lit up. I think he gives up a few runs, and I don't think the Kansas City offense is going to be able to get off. So I'm going to fade them also. It's just kind of I feel like they cancel each other out here.
I hate stacking against pitchers with elite command that are good. Because, like, you can generate that ground ball sometimes when you need to generate that ground ball.
Yeah.
And, like, if you have an umpire giving you an inch, you'll take a mile. So, Kirby's kind of like he shows a little bit of like reverse splits tendencies. And like looking at like his pitch mix and stuff, he will generate like good misses with like the splitter and sinker against lefties. So like I think if anything, like Salvador Perez or like Bobby Witt, I think those are the two guys that could potentially give Kirby issues. But like 6,400 and 5,100, like they're too expensive for the quality pitcher they're facing.
Yeah.
Do they beat him? I mean, sure, they probably do beat him, what, 5 out of 30, 40 times? I mean, so, but I just, like, you're paying 6,400 for Witt. You need him to have a game. And Bobby Witt is a guy I love paying up for. He steals bases, he hits home runs, but I just don't want to play them today. And I have zero interest in Seattle. I can't play them right now.
Yeah, negative.
All right, Colorado at San Diego, 8.5 total in this game. San Diego, a 205 favorite. Dakota Hudson against Randy Vasquez. Any interest here in Dakota Hudson? Nope. All right, moving on. Nope. Very easy no. I took your no for you. Any interest in Vasquez on the other side here?
Stevie, I'm so close. I am so close, but I don't think I need him because Soriano's 6,500. That's really what it is. I don't think I need
pivot, him. Right? Like he's the pivot.
I'm close. Yeah.
My issue, like, I actually think Vasquez gets more ownership than Soriano today.
Interesting. Well,
I really do.
Yeah, we've been picking on Colorado all year. I get it. Yeah,
he's $6K. Like, he's really cheap. I think Vasquez could potentially, and like he's a huge favorite, right? He's a 205 favorite. It's a pick'em game in LA against St. Louis. I feel like Randy Vasquez is going to be your like chalky SP2 pitcher today on DraftKings. And he did get shelled in cores against this team, but big difference pitching at altitude.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
So like Vasquez is an ownership thing for me. Like if he starts getting like really chalky today, I could potentially be underweight on him, but he's 6K. I mean,
it's just 12 games, Stevie. He might not be as chalky as we think. That's a huge slate.
Oh, a lot of pitching options. So, but there's a lot of hitting options too. And you know, when you have hitting, especially early in the season, people love to pay up. I love to pay up for hitting.
Yeah.
Any interest in the Rockies bats in this one?
Negative.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons why. I mean, like if he gets chalky and you want to take some shots on like a Ryan McMahon, Charlie Blackmon, like Diaz 3-man, sure, but this lineup stinks. They're awful. They're so bad. Love San Diego today. Hate the ballpark, but Dakota Hudson is, like he's just not good. And like a lot of the hitters you want to play are like right-handed power bats, which is good. Yeah, I mean, I just don't want to play Dakota Hudson today. His walk rate's higher than his strikeout rate. His WOBA's 350. His hard hit rate's massive. He does generate a good amount of ground balls, which definitely concerns you a little bit because, you know, San Diego does hit the ball on the ground more than they should, but I'm not passing on this spot.
Yep, same here.
I like San Diego quite a bit.
I mean, the other thing too that I love about San Diego, Stevie, despite their positioning in the gutless rankings, they just don't strike out enough, and the power's there. Eventually, Stevie, this team has to rattle off 10 to 12 runs. Like it's got to come, right? At some point, it's coming. Why can't it be tonight against Dakota Hudson?
Mark in chat says, "What's up, fellas? Stevie, Milwaukee took me home $1,600 first place single entry yesterday and second on Friday. Got to get me a Milwaukee hat. I recommend a Nashville Sounds hat. You got to start that AAA baseball hat collection." And I've had a lot of people reach out to me like where I buy my AAA hats. Typically, I buy them straight from the teams because I want to support AAA baseball. I don't want baseball to go anywhere. I want to support those guys that are working hard to get better. Do you have a
Charleston River Dogs hat by chance?
I don't know. I
Well,
I don't know.
I know Katie doesn't want me to buy you another hat, but that's my local team. And
I don't know.
the Ripper Dogs have a pretty cool, and they've got a dog that's like buying 2
I bought another
cross
one yesterday.
backs.
She when it comes in the mail, she's gonna.
Yeah, so
I
I
get
don't
to
know if I
look
want to get on
every
her bad
time.
side. I don't want to get on her bad side.
I bought a jumbo shrimps hat the other day. Because they're Jacksonville team, and I just really liked the hat. I thought it was super cool, and yeah. Whenever my like minor league baseball hats come in, I always get the look. It's
Listen,
always the look.
here's how we avoid that. Maybe I give it to you when you come to Darlington.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that trip.
And and then that way it doesn't get shipped to the house.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I'm looking them up to see if I can remember, but I have so many of them that I always forget. All right, anyway. Hey, we're moving on. We're finishing out the slate. We got the Dodgers and Giants. 7.5 total. Dodgers a 180 favorite. We got Yamamoto against Jordan Hicks. Yamamoto's the guy I'd pay up for. We talked about some of these pitchers in this range today, and while I don't mind Lopez or Shada, I really do like Shada against Atlanta. It's just a really tough spot against Atlanta.
Yeah.
But over 9K, Yamamoto, man. I mean, this guy, he's the real deal. And last time out, Miami just kept making soft contact, and it was so annoying that he kept giving up soft contact to generate these weak outs instead of strikeouts.
Yeah.
But I mean, he pitched well. He didn't pitch what we wanted in that start, but he pitched really well.
But he went 7 innings, which helped compensate
8 innings.
for
he threw 8 innings.
8, yeah, I'm sorry, 8, which helped compensate for one to 2 of the strikeouts. So he ended up, I think, didn't he end up around 25 fantasy points?
Yeah, he had 25. Yep.
Yeah. So you were like, okay, a worse, a not as good strikeout outing as we wanted, and you still kind of got there. I'm like, okay, that bodes well. Bodes well.
Also, I just want to really quickly go back to the minor league baseball hat collection. If anybody out there bought a black Las Vegas gambler's hat at a 7/3 per se and wants to send it to me, that's fine. I'm very sad that I missed out on those hats. Have you seen those hats? They're awesome.
No, I haven't seen.
It's a guy pitching with dice and cards flying.
Oh, Stevie!
And I know I'm so mad. Listen, all right. Anyway, all right. I missed that hat, and I was all right. Taking a deep breath. Jordan Hicks on the other side of this game. Jordan Hicks has actually had a really solid season. Credit where credit's due. But
Great.
I was gonna say, does not matter. Does not matter. He faces this team in blue. Yes, chat. Any interest in Jordan Hicks?
The answer is gonna be no.
Yeah. You guys chat can get me going with minor league baseball hats, man. The real question is, do we like the Dodgers, knowing that Jordan Hicks has done a great job generating ground balls and limiting power this year? Do we like the Dodgers, or do we believe in regression with what we're seeing in the advanced numbers for Hicks here?
I play the Dodgers every day. I'm playing the Dodgers for this slate. That's just kind of how I treat the Dodgers, Steven. You remember earlier this season when they were one of the higher strikeout teams, and then they brought up Pages, or is it Pages?
Pages, yeah.
Pages. They brought him up. Outman got rolling. They don't bat Chris Taylor every day. And all of a sudden, Steve, you started looking, you're like, wait a minute. This lineup's getting a little bit better. It's getting a little bit better. And then boom, back to being, one of the most elite offenses in baseball. I'm playing the Dodgers all the way down, all the way up, not playing any hits.
Yeah, like I said, some of the regression numbers are definitely there when you're looking at the advanced stuff for Hicks. And the one thing that like definitely concerns me is the ability that like Hicks has had to generate like ground balls this season. But Freeman's a fly ball hitter. Mookie Betts is a fly ball hitter. Max Muncy's a fly ball hitter. So I mean, a lot of fly ball hitters in this lineup, and they should potentially, benefit actually from Hicks being a ground ball guy. So yeah, I like the Dodgers a lot today. Out on the Giants, I have zero interest in the Giants today.
Heavens no.
Dean says I should buy a Florida Panthers hat. Listen, is this the week? I scheduled Dean for a podcast this month. I think it might actually be this week. Let's see. He popped in chat. I feel like I'm obliged to look now. Dean, 15th, Wednesday. Dean will be on the morning grind Tuesday night for Wednesday's slate. Everybody's been asking if he remembers, because I'm not even going to message him because I kind of just want to do a solo pod. So he was scheduled for a morning grind this month. So look, he didn't even know about it. Why did I say something, Will? I could have just did a solo pod. Anyway, let's play the morning grind game, and then we will get out of here.
There's something else unique about this week as well, so I'm excited about it.
Something else unique about this week?
Yeah, I'm excited
for the morning grind.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even know that. When did that happen? Okay, well there you go. All right. I didn't know that. Anyway, it doesn't hurt my feelings. I just didn't know. Anyway, morning grind game under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm not gonna take your guy, Stevie.
I had a mute button ready, and I was gonna like talk over you if you were gonna say Soriano, just so you know. It wasn't happening.
I'm not taking your guy. As much as I don't like this spot, I think I have to go with Arrighetti. I don't really like Arrighetti, but I feel like he's probably the closest to 6 strikeouts because of the matchup.
You might not like him, like just as like a DFS play, but like the strikeout matchup and like his ability to generate strikeouts is definitely worth looking at in the betting streets today.
Yeah, for sure.
Jose Soriano, everyone knows. No doubt about it. Like it's just not even close for me. Over 8K to score under 15. Who is your bust today?
Does Liberatore count? He's 8,300.
No.
Give me George Kirby. Seriously, give me George Kirby.
I am going to go again. I have been the captain of this train, but I'm going to go Reynaldo Lopez today. I cannot see myself paying 9,700 for Lopez. Do I think he gets over 15? Probably pretty close. But I'm going to be out on Lopez today. Over 4K to hit a home run. Who's going yard today?
Stevie, we got a fair amount of guys here, and I think I know who your guy is. This is a guy that I did like earlier. I hate that he's in this ballpark, but I'm going to go Pete Alonso at 4,800.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that at all.
The power's still there. It's still there. Like, yeah.
Who do you? I'm so curious who you think my guy is now. Like, who do you think my guy is?
I was thinking it might have been Spencer Steer at 5.
I love that call. Your mindset there is fantastic. I do like Spencer Steer a lot. My guy for a home run today is Max Muncy. This is just a perfect line drive spot, like fly ball hitter, ground ball pitcher. We typically see more, line drives in those scenarios. So I'm going to go Max Muncy. He's kind of slumping a little bit. I think he gets it going in this spot. So Max Muncy to the Cape, right? In the Cape. What's over the Giants' wall? The Cape, right? Anyway, Covey Cove. I couldn't think of the darn name. Covey Cove. He's gonna hit one in the water today. Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who's a cheap bet that you like today?
Going up to Washington, man. Give me Jesse Winker, 3,800. Like this spot against Flexen. Real good price on him. Think he can get the job done for us.
Yeah, not even planned, but we're going to go double Washington here. Luis Garcia is someone that is very consistent. I know he struggled a little bit recently, but I like Garcia a lot. 212 ISO, 416 WOBA, 14% Ks. He doesn't typically strike out a lot, and he does a good job putting the ball in play. This is a good spot for her, Washington here. Stack to score 6 or more runs. Who do you got?
I think we got a couple here that we can look at, Stevie. Not going to take your team. Going to go with the team that I really love here. Super, super consistent. Part of the gutless rankings. Give me the San Diego Padres.
I love it. How'd they get the gutless ranking? That's great. I think a lot of people kind of expect me to go Milwaukee. I'm not going Milwaukee today. I really like Arizona. I think this is a great spot against Graham Ashcraft, who they just faced and beat up. He struggles against lefties. I'm going to go Arizona to score 6 or more runs today. Any pick and plays or player props that you like on this one?
Not really, because I've been kind of clicking around, Steve. I don't really see a lot available right now. So I don't really have one. I will say if Arrigetti's anywhere from 4.5 to 5.5, I'm taking the over. If Singer's anywhere from 4.5 to 5.5, I'm taking the over for what it's. But I think we said he was 6.5 at plus money. So we might get him at 5.5 minus 135 or 140 or something like that. And I think I'd still be okay.
I don't know if we'll get it that low. Well, I mean, multiple sites like Bet365, FanDuel, DK. Like FanDuel has Singer at plus like 102 at 6.5. I don't think we'll get a 5.5 number on Singer today.
Gotcha.
Like the plus 120 for Singer at 6.5 strikeouts is very tempting, but I don't even know if you could do that like number.
Yeah.
Like I do like the matchup and we like the strikeouts, and you're getting plus money, but you're getting plus money for a reason. So
yeah. I might look at him in the fantasy point streets on the pick'em sites. That might be a good one for tomorrow, depending on where he lands.
Yeah, so I mean, there's no props out that I bet yet because I'm waiting for some props to come out. But Singer over K's is something that is close to where I would be at. But Arrigetti and Soriano are the two that I really am looking at to see where we're at. So those are the ones that I'm looking to see where their lines come in at as well. Any money lines against the spread over unders that you like today?
Oh yeah, man, listen, we're getting Brady the Royals at plus 125 on that's on ESPN bet, and then you're getting them around plus 120 almost everywhere else. So I think that's a perfect line, Steve. Like that feels really, really good to me. And then you're getting the Nationals at minus 125 against Chris Flexen. Like, give me that all day.
Yeah, so I like Milwaukee over 4.5 runs at plus money today. I've talked about Keller and his struggles, and Milwaukee is just a really good team. They're really good. Don't sleep on the Brewers right now. They're up and down, top to the bottom of that lineup is just hitting the baseball right now. So give me Milwaukee over 4.5 at plus money. That's going to wrap it up here for Monday. We're back Tuesday talking baseball. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us.